Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and our television audience on your TV, and welcome to the South Stormont Chamber of Commerce Meet the Candidates evening. My name's Gord Shaver. I'll be your host for the evening. Thank you for being here. It's always good to see a big crowd for events like this because it's always a good thing when voters are engaged and they make it a point to get more information on the candidates and their platforms. And to our candidates tonight, seated on both sides of the stage, thank you for being here, and most of all, thank you for putting your names forward to serve your fellow residents. Now, a few words about the format this evening. As billed, it is a Meet the Candidates evening. It's not a debate. It's not a community forum. There's no opportunity for discussion between the candidates. There's no opportunity for rebuttals, and there is no opportunity for questions from the crowd. So I hope both the crowd and the candidates will respect our format tonight. We'll begin with statements from all candidates, and when that's done, we'll have questions from the chamber directed to the candidates for deputy mayor and mayor. Now, candidates, you will have up to 3 minutes to introduce yourself to the voters, to express your views, your opinions, and the issues that you want them to know about. We have a timer seated directly to your left at the podium. You'll be able to see, they'll hold up a sign that will indicate that you've got 15 seconds left to wrap up your thoughts and finish off your statement. When your time is up, I will be standing beside you. And if you continue to talk after that, the audience will be treated to the sight of you and I wrestling for the mic. And that's not going to look good for either one of us on Facebook tomorrow morning, so I hope you'll respect the time limitations. So we'd like to start by congratulating the French separate trustee, Jonathan Dessert, and the French public trustee, Lise Benoit-Léger, on their acclamation. So obviously they won't be with us tonight. We're going to start off the evening with the candidates for English Public School Trustee, and I would remind all speakers to speak directly into the mic so that everybody can hear you in both rooms. And the TV mic is also attached to the main mic, so candidates, please don't go walking with the mic this year. Okay, Jim Bancroft is absent this evening. When we call on the candidate's name, we'd like you to come to the stage and address the crowd. So, as I said, Jim Bancroft is absent this evening. Our candidates will speak in alphabetical order, beginning with the English Public School Trustee, and we will start with John Danaher. John?
Not sure whether speaking first is a good thing or a bad omen, so I'll let you be the judge of that later on. Good evening. Thank you to each of you for giving your evenings up tonight to listen to us speak. Special thanks to the organizer this evening for the event tonight. I grew up in a very large family, one of 10 children, the second eldest of 10. And we didn't have money, we didn't have a lot of things other than love and support for each other. But my father believed strongly that public education was and is a very important stepping stone for everyone, and that public education was a gift, a great equalizer to enable all to succeed and grow and become contributing members of our society. He instilled that passion for public education in me. My name is John Danaher, and I'm asking for your consideration and vote for the Upper Canada District School Board Trustee in our upcoming election. This campaign for me is about our kids in our communities. I've spent my career in public education as a teacher and then as an administrator of 3 high schools. I was principal at Glengarry District High School, Cornwall Collegiate and Vocational School, and Charlan District High School. This work experience has given me a solid understanding of the role and responsibilities of a trustee, as well as a clear grasp of the issues and requirements of students in rural schools. My platform is quite simple. Our students deserve continued and future quality education programs, quality programs. They deserve to be educated in the communities in which they live, and they deserve policies and resource allocations that support their needs. And we're talking about a budget of $350 million, and our kids deserve some of that. Our parents and communities deserve strong representation at the board table, open and transparent communication, which I believe did not occur a year ago when we were going through the school closure scenario. And lastly, decisions about our schools that are community-driven, not top-down. Last year, I became a member of the Save Our Schools Committee as well as the Area Review Committee in order to oppose the proposed school closures during a very difficult time for our communities and schools. I will continue to fight for the sustainability of our rural schools. I am an advocate for the wonders of public education and have a strong passion for all the wonderful things that happen every day in school. On a personal note, I have 9 grandchildren, 7 of them now attending UCSB schools, and the last 2 will join next year. I will continue to fight for their public education in our communities as well as for the well-being of all of our students. Remember, it's about the kids. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And now our next candidate for the English Public School Trustee, Marsha Wilson.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank the South Stormont Chamber of Commerce for putting on this night, and I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out, because as John Danaher said, it's so important to have informed voters, especially when we're dealing with education. My name is Marsha Wilson. As I said, I'm from Glengarry, North Glengarry, and I'm pretty young. That's the first thing that goes through a lot of people's mind, but I assure you all I will grow out of it eventually. But on a more serious note, I'm just going to go over the 2 most important areas of my platform in my mind. The first one is community. Community involvement in our schools and having our school board look at and respect our communities is one of the most important things that we can advocate at the board. Parent councils is such an important issue for me, and I assure you that my devotion to our parent councils is going to be very high. I want to attend all the parent council meetings and have an active line of communication with them. As well, municipalities, ensuring that our school board works very closely with our municipalities. 2 committees that I'm very interested in are the Economic Development Committee and the Education Committees within all 4 municipalities that Ward 9 encompasses. The next very important area for me in my platform is supporting our students. This, for me, firstly comes in fostering student leadership. I worked with the school board's student senate very closely for 1 year. I served on the school board as a student trustee, and I got to see the diversity and the amazingness that our student leadership here in Upper Canada has. The next one is supporting our existing student supports, so making sure that every student has the resources and the opportunities. Oh, sorry about that. That every student has the opportunity to succeed equally. As well, as some of you may know, we are currently facing more than one issue with our busing, and I feel very passionately about the importance of busing. One issue is the courtesy riders, which, as some of you may know, was just recently taken away by the board, which is posing some issues to our students. And there was supposed to be a motion on the board table to repeal that vote, but it may not happen, but I would ensure you that I support that repeal. And then on a personal note, just to tell you a little bit about myself, as I said, I served as the student trustee for Upper Canada for 1 year. That means I sat on the board of trustees. I have gotten to know the board of trustees very well, the senior staff, the director. I've worked closely with all of them. And I just really want to be able to continue serving the people of North Glengarry and Stormont and South Glengarry. So thank you very much, and remember, better education starts with your vote.
Thank you, Marshall. And now we move on to the candidates for the English Separate School Trustee, again in alphabetical order, beginning with Karen McAllister.
to swallow this. Good evening. Thank you to the Chamber for putting this on, and I want to congratulate all the candidates for putting their names forward. It's not an easy thing to do, and I applaud each and every one of you. I'm here tonight because I believe in Catholic education. I believe in this education because an education from the Catholic School Board pays huge dividends academically, socially, and environmentally for the students. We have the results to prove it, and the EQAO testing office has shown that our students surpass that testing in reading, writing, and math, and that our numbers continue to increase gradually over the year. Because I believe also because parents deserve a choice, and however that choice means that we work harder to attract and retain students, because the student role determines our funding and our ability to deliver programs. This means that we have to work harder in order to provide that quality education for our students. I believe in a holistic education that nurtures the heart, mind, body, and soul. I will continue to speak up and communicate the value of this to everyone I meet. I talk openly with Catholics who've turned away from our system, and I stand up when I see things I don't agree with. And I will stand behind the right course of action to be a strong voice. I will continue to be a unifying factor on the board, to encourage other board members to speak their mind, whatever their opinion. It's in sharing our different perspectives that we come to a better understanding of our needs. I will listen to their ideas actively and share my opinion. I'll promote open discussion, honesty, accountability, and transparency. I will continue to promote those activities between the home school and parish, and that means making sure that everyone is welcome in our schools, including the priests, and making sure that they realize that their participation is just as important and that we all are a community raising our children. I'll continue to put energy into better education for our kids. And I want to ensure that our board promotes programs that build positive mental health and resiliency, even with our most vulnerable learners. During the past year, I witnessed a young man whom his parents were told would never graduate because he couldn't properly write or demonstrate what he was learning. His father was so proud. Not only is he doing well and he's learned to write, he was able to demonstrate that with us using his technology and what works for him. My name is Karen McAllister. I'm running for re-election because I want to preserve Catholic education. I'm a concerned parent with 2 children, and I believe that we need a strong voice outside of education to help our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And just a reminder again to the candidates that you have to get really close to this mic in order for your voice to make it all through the room. So don't be afraid to get close to the mic. So our second candidate for English Separate School Trustee, Donna Nielsen.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce, and thank you to all of you for coming this evening. I am Donna Nielsen, and I am a candidate for the English Separate School Trustee. After having recently retired from a successful career in Catholic education, I welcome the opportunity to run as English Separate School Trustee for Dundas and Stormont, Ontario. If elected, I would contribute meaningfully in the areas of faith development, curriculum, special education, First Nations, and mental health. It was inspiring working and collaborating with many professionals as teacher and later as principal. We were committed to nurturing the hearts, minds, bodies, and souls of all students. Planning in the best interest of our students and their families was paramount at the schools in which I served. As English Separate Trustee, I am committed to being a leader in Catholic education, I'm currently an active member at St. Peter's Parish. I'm chair of Pastoral Council. I'm a member of the Hospitality Ministry, Baptism Ministry, Parish School Ministry, Eucharistic Ministry, CWL, and Alpha. Promoting student achievement, well-being, and equity. Promoting a positive school climate that is inclusive and accepting of all students. Being a visible and valuable presence in the schools in which I would serve. I was principal at St. Mary St. Cecilia School in Morrisburg and saw the building of the addition when the two schools amalgamated. I was principal at Our Lady. I wasn't principal at Our Lady. I was principal at Immaculate Conception in Cornwall. I was principal at St. Peter in Cornwall, at Bishop Macdonnell in Cornwall, and at St. Andrews in Cornwall, or in St. Andrews. I hope that I will be visible, of course, at St. Mary Chesterville, Our Lady of Good Counsel, and of course at St. Andrews, which is in our community. I would create collaborative relationships inside the board and across the community, and I would be committed to continuous improvement. I'm committed to my faith, my family, and to Catholic education. As English separate school trustee, I would reflect upon and draw upon my many experiences in Catholic education, experiences in my parish, my own faith, to make positive and informed contributions. I eagerly anticipate being awarded this privilege. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. We now move on to the candidates for councillor. There are 9 of them. Earl Pass, Helen Dunlop, Andrew Gondo, Louise LeClair, Jennifer McIsaac, Reid McIntyre, Donna Primo, Dale Rutterham, and Cindy Woods. And we will begin again in alphabetical order with Earl Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, why would you vote for Earl Pass for councillor? Well, if you said that he was a really great guy, you'd be right, but only partially. If you said he's accomplished much, well, you'd be getting a little bit warmer. And if you said he has staying power, commitment, and integrity, you'd be even warmer. But that's not all. You see, if you only mentioned those 3 things, you'd be missing a lot. Earl has got a lot to offer you for your vote. By explanation, Earl Pass has been very involved in South Stormont since he arrived with his 4 family members in 1996. As his brochure shows, he has got many accomplishments. These include being very active in St. Andrews. In early 2000s, he was involved with the development of the North-South Recreational Trail. It goes from just west of the church to Cornwall Centre Road. If you haven't seen this 5.6 kilometer gem, you're missing out. Most recently, he worked cooperatively to save the St. Andrews Post Office from amalgamation into Cornwall. He's been active with the Knights of Columbus, very active with the Knights of Columbus in St. Andrews, and most recently helped to put on a wonderful one-day celebration called the St. Andrews West Community Fest. He tried to promote a new community building with the fire hall in St. Andrews West. His involvement with youth is evident. As a big brother, as a member of Big Brothers Big Sisters, he's active. As the commanding officer for the Lancaster Air Cadet Squadron and a part of the Cornwall Flying Club, he works with youth. As a private pilot, he takes an active role in promoting recreational aviation, especially by taking youth for short flights, no cost to them. I've been very blessed to be able to see this beautiful community from the air, and it makes me even want to work harder to be a part of the governing body for the next 4 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank the Council, the Chamber of Commerce, for allowing me to explain to you why you should vote for Earl. I thank you for listening to the opportunity to hear me explain why I would like to be a part of the council. Please, on October the 22nd, vote Earl Pass for councillor.
Thank you, Earl. Our next candidate for councillor, Helen Dunlop.
Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and to all of you here tonight for taking your time to listen to us this evening.
Close to the mic.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Recently, I saw 2 bald eagles in the parkway. I was reminded of the beauty and resilience of this area, its diversity of natural features and long history, at least 10,000 years. I was reminded of why I'm running for councillor. Earlier this year, the sale of the park beside the Long Sault Fire Hall and the treed property behind it for a housing development incited public outcry. Concerns which I share came to the foreground, including loss of public open spaces and trees, clear cutting, disappearance of wildlife habitat, loss of heritage and character, increased traffic and speed, development with no apparent vision, and low levels of transparency and communication. The need for sustainable development and social license. This incident inspired me. I believe in working together towards a strong, vibrant, and inclusive township through effective and efficient leadership, establishing and supporting a clear vision and set goals and objectives and communicating these to the constituents. Transparency and accountability, holding elected officials responsible for their decisions and their actions. Plans reflecting local interest and directing development. Decisions and policies taking into account economic, environmental, and social factors, pillars of sustainability. Conservation and promotion of our natural and cultural heritage. Strategic economic development, looking at our strengths, weaknesses, exploring areas of opportunity, supporting entrepreneurship and innovation. Creativity, having diversified economy and labor force. Community engagement and consultation. Involving people in shaping their places helps create cohesiveness and vibrancy, a sense of community. It promotes trust, quality of life, and economic prosperity. Fostering economic growth, sustainable development, and environmental stewardship may be the municipality's responsibility, but contributing to them is everyone's. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Helen. Our next candidate for council, Andrew Gondo.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Andrew Gondo, and I'm running for the position of councillor. I decided to run because I love South Stormont, and I want to be part of helping it prosper. And although I believe the council has accomplished many great things over the last 2 terms, I feel there are things we can improve upon. Specifically, when important decisions are being made, the council needs to do a better job consulting with its community members. You have a right to be informed, and you must be given an opportunity to voice your concerns. Too often, people have told me that they did not know about a particular project until they saw shovels in the dirt. This needs to change. Furthermore, when important decisions are reached, you have a right to know why council decided the way it did. The council has to do a better job communicating the factors they considered to the public. For example, if the council states that it decided to do something for financial reasons, it must be able to communicate to the public how it determined those decisions were more fiscally responsible than the alternatives. It must also be able to explain what other variables were in play, such as environmental concerns or public safety concerns, and explain how those variables were considered as well. I'm not saying that the current council doesn't do this. The problem is they must do a better job communicating its reasons and logic to the public. You have a right to know that all decisions were made after detailed research has taken place and that all factors were considered. Going forward, our next council must address the lack of senior transportation in our area. As our population ages, more and more citizens will be losing their ability to drive, and they will have no way to get into town to get their groceries and other essential goods. As our population increases, we also must ensure that we have enough doctors in our area to provide medical services to our new and current residents. We need a council that can come up with creative solutions for these issues, as well as other issues that may arise. In terms of what I bring to the council, I feel like my work and education experience have helped me acquire a skill set that would be useful for someone on council to have. After graduating from Tugwa in 2012, I studied finance and economics at McMaster University. Thereafter, I attended law school at the University of Ottawa. I graduated this May with a Juris Doctor. For the past 2.5 years, I've also been working at the law office of McDonald Duncan in Cornwall. This has given me ample practical experience in the areas of business, law, as well as real estate and development, all of which I believe are useful areas for a councillor to be knowledgeable in. I'd like to thank you all for your time, and if you have any questions, feel free to talk to me following the end of the speech.
Thank you, Andrew. Our next candidate for councillor, Louise LeClair.
Bonsoir. Good evening, everyone. Very happy to see so many people here today. It's pretty awesome. Bonsoir tout le monde. Hein? Si vous pouvez venir me parler en français après, si vous voulez, il n'y a pas de problème avec ça. So, my name is Louise. I'm running for councillor here in South Stormont. I grew up in the south of Montreal, in a really big pig farm, actually. When I was 19, I decided to move to Vancouver because I wanted to learn English. I worked in different restaurants and shops, and I became a tour guide. My off-season, I traveled a fair bit. I worked in orphanages in Romania, in Mexico. I learned Spanish and Norwegian as well. I did a lot of traveling, but I felt I needed to do something more. So I decided to do my bachelor degree at York University. While I was there, I met my husband, been married for 13 years now. And then after that, I decided to do my master's degree at Carleton University in political affairs. And while I was at Carleton University, I was pregnant, and I gave birth to my first son, Adrian. And as everybody here would know who has children, when you have a child, your whole life goes upside down. Everything that matters does not matter anymore. Everything that matters is that child. And my whole life totally changed, and I realized this love that I have for serving my child, this is the same love I have for serving when I was working in the train, when I was working in the restaurant, when I was working in shops. And this is the reason why I decided to actually give my nomination to become a councillor here for South Stormont. I've been working 10 years now for the government, the federal government. I know how to make a good policy, like a good idea, into a good policy. I have a few things that I think is really important for South Stormont. One of them is to actually change the farm property class tax rate. I think it's too high. I don't think it needs to be that high. It's the municipality level that actually decides how high it needs to be, and we can change that. And I have a petition that I'm starting to roll around for that. I also believe we need more transportation for our senior. We have a lot of seniors. We're just going to have more. We need to change that. It's very important. And the one thing that's really close to my heart is really to pressure the Ontario government to increase the safety on Highway 138. I live on Highway 138. This is not rocket science. Let's just add some left lane turns on that highway. It doesn't need to be twin all the way. Just left lane turns will make a big difference on that highway. So on October 22nd, vote for Louise LeClair. LeClair, you don't see the C at the end. It's LeClair, like the chocolate eclair. You put the L, LeClair. I am sweet as the dessert, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Our fifth candidate for councillor, Jennifer McIsaac.
Good evening. Today, I ask for your help in working to move our beloved community forward. I want our council to work well to strengthen economic development, to attract businesses and residents to our community, which in turn will increase our tax base and reduce the tax burden on each of us. I will make no empty promises, but my solemn commitment to you is that with your trust, I will work hard, as I have always done, and I will be diligent in reviewing every line of our budget so that the spending of your tax dollars is done responsibly. I will make thoughtful, well-researched decisions that will be in the best interest of long-term planning for South Stormont, and I will be someone that you can trust to represent our community with professionalism. We are the fastest growing municipality in SDNG. I'm excited about South Stormont's future. Now that my children have grown, I want to use the skills that I've gained in both my professional career and through volunteerism to help make our community even better. For me, becoming councillor and serving in this capacity is a logical next step in my genuine passion for South Stormont. I was fortunate to grow up here, where my husband Paul and I chose to raise our children as well. I currently work as Community Relations Coordinator for the Seaway International Bridge Corporation. I have a background in communications, finance, and marketing that I can bring to being an effective member of council. I have been a dedicated South Stormont volunteer since the age of 14. Some of the initiatives that I have co-chaired are Celebration 50 and Celebration 60. I've coached and convened minor sports here in South Stormont, and I've co-organized 7 years of Ingleside Firefighter Challenges. Most recently, I led the Save South Stormont Schools campaign to help save both Long Sault Public and Rothwell Osterbrook Secondary. This became my second full-time job for 9 long months. I learned from this that as a united South Stormont, we can accomplish so much. South Stormont Council must continue to protect all of our great assets. If elected, this is something for which I will work diligently. I've had many conversations with residents of all of our villages and hamlets and have heard their concerns. I hope to gain an even better understanding of those needs. If elected, I will work to represent and advocate for all residents of South Stormont. I look further for further conversations and hope to be part of a team which can set priorities, respectfully debate issues, and then come together to create a strong and vibrant community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Moving along to our 6th candidate for councillor, Reid McIntyre.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator, fellow candidates, ladies and gentlemen. Special thanks to the South Stormont Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. My name is Reid McIntyre, and I would like to represent you on the Council of South Stormont as a councillor. I've thought about this opportunity for many years, but always knew that the position deserved a lot of time and consideration, as there are so many competing interests among you, from every town, village, and hamlet. Now that I'm retired, and I have time and energy to properly represent the people of South Stormont and really serve them in a positive and constructive way as a member of council. The following are some of the key issues I'd like to look into and learn more about so that our township continues to be an excellent place to live, work, and play. There needs to be an initiative to start the process of funding for the upgrade of the waste treatment plant in Ingleside. We have Jim McDonnell, our MPP. He's the ruling party in Ontario now. It's time to pressure them guys to come up with some funding. We should be working on bringing senior housing facilities to our seniors to areas like St. Andrews, perhaps Norrington, for instance. It doesn't need to be a huge apartment. Start with 6 to 8 units, work from there, but we can't do that on ourselves. We need help from the provincial and federal government, perhaps a 3P partnership, to facilitate the safety and comfort of our seniors who'd be able to remain in their own communities and not have to move into Cornwall for an apartment. I would also like to work with our Public Works Department on a few items. I believe that I have an idea that could save the taxpayers on their waste and recycling costs. I would like to review the winter maintenance, the salt management plan, as well as the road resurfacing plan that the township uses. There are ways that we could possibly reduce costs without influencing service. I would like to work with the local fire departments to have a voluntary, biannual, free inspection set up for parents to make sure that their children's and infants' car seats are installed properly and legally. We must keep our children safe. I would like to investigate the possibility of an early years learning center program at different locations in the township. We as a municipality should do all we can to help any host achieve their goal of hosting a funded early years program. Now, I've worked in the infrastructure industry for the last 43 years. I have strong organizational and team building skills and have taken numerous courses to expand and improve my skill sets and knowledge base. I possess a wealth of experience dealing with employee and customer relations. I would like to focus my attention on the fact that if we look after the small things in a responsible manner, the bigger things will be easier to handle. I believe I can make a difference on October 22nd. I am a candidate with a plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reid. Next up is the 7th candidate for councillor, Donna Primo.
Thank you, Gord, and thank you all for being here. Born and raised in Long Sault, I currently live in Rosedale Terrace. I have 3 growing daughters and have recently teamed up with Remax Realty Cornwall as a sales representative. I've learned a lot on the last 4 years of council. I've learned about road reconstruction, insurance, culverts, point of order, roundabouts, protest, and proper consultation when dealing with change like the Fire Hall Park issue. I feel that this past council has done some good work, but there is room for improvement. If re-elected, I will continue to fight for our schools. In my quest to fight for our right to rural education, I took a 6-hour bus ride to Queen's Park to protest against the closing of rural schools. I made presentations to Upper Canada District School Board, met with the Minister of Education, and attended various other meetings. We need more communication between the township, the school boards, and the Ministry of Education. We know our community best, and we need to be consulted in what works for our community. Transparency. We need to continue to strive towards providing our residents with access to information through various means of communication. We have focused resources on social media, continue to have information in print media. Emails get sent to those who want to receive them, but that is not enough. Did you know we approved funding in the budget for cameras to provide video of our meetings? Nothing extravagant, not tens of thousands of dollars for IT equipment, just simple cameras to record and post the meetings so residents could have additional means to know what we are doing. This never got done. I want to be at the council table to make sure it gets done. South Stormont is the fastest growing municipality in SG&G with a growth rate of 4% as per the 2016 census. With this in mind, we need to remember that our municipal services have to be able to keep up with this growth. We need to think outside of the box to be able to maintain service levels that you are accustomed to and still have a budget without huge tax increases. I will advocate for our waterfront and access to that waterfront in South Stormont. With St. Lawrence Parks Commission hiring a new general manager, an opportunity exists for us to open doors of communication and find a way to be responsible with our tax dollars and still invest in opportunities for us to utilize this incredible asset that is at our doorstep. We need to ensure that we have water levels to maintain our tourism, recreation, and our property values. We need to be assertive. We can't stand by and let the International Joint Commission drain our river. As council, I will use my knowledge, my experience, energy, and enthusiasm to enhance this wonderful lifestyle we have in South Stormont. I will continue to promote South Stormont as a great place to do business. I will continue to be open and approachable. I'll be ready to dig in, do the research, and make the tough decisions. My name is Donna Primo, and I am seeking re-election for the position of Councillor of the Township of South Stormont. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Our next candidate for council, Dale Rutterham.
Everybody spoke so well, I'll try to follow suit. Good evening, South Stormont. Thank you to the Chamber for having us. My name is Dale Rutterham, and I am running for the position of councillor in South Stormont. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was raised on a small farm in North Stormont. No stranger to hard work or perseverance. My young family and I have lived in South Stormont now for 9 years. Like many of you, our lives are ingrained in this community. Some of you may remember me from the Long Sault Public School, Save South Stormont School Initiative. I bring with me to the position 15 years of work experience for the federal government in corporate management services. 5 years work experience as a licensed realtor with RE/MAX, 1 degree in political science, and countless life experience such as a resident, a homeowner, a landlord, a volunteer firefighter, a baseball coach, hockey coach, and many, many more. I am accountable, open, fair, transparent. These are values I execute daily in my job. I spend hundreds of millions of federal dollars with never an issue, never any complaints. I learned that accountability comes with experience. I love the community of South Stormont and the people who are part of it. The community is the backbone of our township. We choose to live among each other. Our children play together and we grow old together. Council needs to better enable residents and businesses for success. Everyone deserves equal, unbiased, accessible access to government. Residents deserve the best communication from their council and municipal administration. I want to improve the quality of life for every resident in every way possible. And I don't want to stand here and dictate how I'm going to improve your quality of life. I want you to come to me to tell me how I'm going to improve your quality of life. For more information, please visit my website. My name's Dale Rutterham, and I'm running for councillor of South Stormont. I'm asking for your support on October 22nd.
Thank you, Dale. And now our final candidate for councillor, Cindy Woods.
Thank you, Gord. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Cindy Woods, and I'm a lifelong resident of South Stormont. And I was going to come up here and say, you know, with a name like Woods, yes, they saved the best for last. I tried that on my siblings, and it never worked either. So anyway, I have lived in Long Sault till I was growing up. My husband and I live in Lunenburg now. We've been married for 33 years and have 4 wonderful sons, 2 of them which still live in this community. And I've been working for your credit union for 30 years. So I have a degree in business administration. And with that, I bring accountability to the Council of South Stormont. I did serve as councillor for 8 years, from 2006 to 2014. So I would like to bring back that accountability, that experience. I have a few concerns with our municipality. I would like to get a better handle and more doctors for our area. I know we are in dire need, but we're not the only ones. So I think it is an issue that is far too big for a municipality of any size to handle on their own, because that tax burden alone would be huge for the residents of South Stormont. So I would like to engage the provincial government as well as the federal government to start helping us get more doctors here, be able to have somebody answer the phone when you try and call. They are overwhelmed. There's so many people going, there's just not enough to go around. You can only do so much in a day. So I would like that to be one of my main concerns for running, and I hope that we can work as a team to get that working. I know we're gonna need some help, and the financial burden would be too much for us. So the next thing I would like to see is, I know the clear cutting is a necessity, but I also think that it needs to be addressed because we're losing the habitat for our wildlife. So what happens with that is it forces them onto the roads, into the villages, and that's a danger in itself. So as there has to be a plan put into place to replant, to reestablish forests and habitat for our wildlife so that they have a place to go. Because as we all know, they're as important to our community as everything else. The only other thing I'd like to say is I enjoyed my time on council as it was. I'm very diligent, and I'm an avid volunteer in our community. Not only do I volunteer for victim services, I'm also with our church. I bring communion to the shut-ins at Sunset Cove, and I'm a Eucharistic minister for our parish as well. So I'm ingrained in this community. I love it, and I'm part of it, and I will continue to be a part. So on October 22nd, please support me and vote for me. I will do my very best to represent you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. And that brings an end to the candidates for councillor. And might I say right now, I commend everybody for the timing. Everybody's been bang on, well prepared. It's time to move on to the candidates for deputy mayor. They are David Smith and Richard Waldrop. And starting off again in alphabetical order, David Smith.
Thanks, Gord. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce. You did a great job in short notice. I think it's a great venue. The crowd here tonight is going to find out very quickly that I'm not much of a speechwriter. I'm more of a roll up the sleeves and get her done guy. So bear with me. Thank you for taking the time to show your concern and take the responsible approach to making a better place to raise your families and protect your hard-earned properties. For those who don't know me, and I look through the crowd, and I don't know if there's very many out there who doesn't, and I don't know why I wouldn't, because you find me everywhere in this township on a weekly basis. I'm sure there's many of you out there who can attest to that. But for those who don't, my name is David Smith, and I'm asking for your support to be the next deputy mayor of South Stormont for the next 4 years. I'm married to my wife, Debbie, who's in the crowd tonight, who's been working at Woodland Villa since they opened the doors 33 years ago. We have 5 adult children, 6 grandchildren, and their future in this township is very important to us too. I have lived in Long Sault for 33 years myself and loved every day working, playing, and most importantly, raising my family in this wonderful part of Canada. I have a process operations background where I made lead for gasoline. No need to tell you what happened to that job. Once I relocated to this area, I worked construction, mostly with Cornwall gravel, where I got my roads and ditching experience, and then off to pipeline work. My body soon was telling me to make a change. So in 1995, I opened a little sports pub in Long Sault called Grumpy's. Grumpy's quickly became a hot commodity and is located in Long Sault Plaza where O'Neill's Pub is now for almost 20 years. Approximately $200,000 of fundraising was generated through that pub, and it was all raised through you, our residents. That money went to many local and provincial charities. When I retired, I was lost and realized that I needed the same community that supported me then. It was my turn to support them back. I got involved with many charities and fundraising events. I got involved with many charitable groups. I was one of the founders of the Sioux Crew. I belong to the Lost Villages Lions Club, and I am an active member of the St. Andrews Knights of Columbus. Now I'm surrounded by good people who believe in giving back. I found that I still have some time to spare, so by virtue of your trust and faith in me, I was elected councillor in South Stormont for the last 4 years. I hope that I have represented you well. I have never been partial, vindictive, biased to anyone for their concerns. I do not have personal agenda. I'm getting the hook. Anyway, my name is David Smith, and please, I appreciate your support on Election Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. And our next candidate for Deputy Mayor, Richard Waldrop.
Mr. Shaver, fellow candidates, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the Chamber for this evening. I appreciate this, gives all of us an opportunity to meet. Earlier this evening when you came in, you were handed a pamphlet. In that pamphlet, you'll find many facts on me. You'll find some highlights from the past 4 years and some thoughts for the future. Please review it carefully. You have likely noticed by now my motto, ask not what your community can do for you, but rather what you can do for your community. I borrowed this from J.F. Kennedy. Most of you people probably remember, and there's some younger people who probably don't, but anyway, we're here. Because of the fact that I have 2 more chances to speak tonight, I've kind of changed from the norm. In the past 4 years, I've been traveling around the township, and it never stops to amaze me as to how much care you people give to your properties. And not just the new ones, but also the older homes. They are being remodeled with fabulous care to detail. Thank you for making our community so beautiful. I want to thank you for supporting me in 2014. This is the 3rd time I've been before you for support. This time it's a bit different in that I'm asking you not only for support for local council, but I'm also asking you to support me to go to SD&G United Counties Council. I am a positive, hardworking individual at the local level and will continue that will continue. I also have full intentions of taking that to the county level to make sure your concerns and needs are aired. We haven't heard a great deal from that level of government, and I think it's time we do hear something from them. At the local level in the past few years, there's been discussion about publicizing and streaming meetings. That never really got off the ground, simply because of the fact there was concerns as to whether or not the financial investment would be justified by the viewers. If you wish to see that, please talk to your council. I would like to plan to establish a method of communications with you and about what is happening and what is about to happen at all levels of government. I suspect that Facebook or a web page will have to be the access, and most of you people have access to that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for the details in 2019. Every adult, child, business, cluster of homes, farm, every corner of the township has its own special importance and uniqueness, which alone is mere pieces of the puzzle that makes the bigger picture, South Stormont. Working together, we can make our township even greater. On October 17th, 22nd, elect Richard "Rick" Waldrop for your deputy mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. So we've heard from the candidates for deputy mayor. It's time to move on to the candidates for mayor, and there are 3 of them: Christopher Bonville, Tammy Hart, and Brian McGillis. And we will start again in alphabetical order with Christopher Bonville.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for having us all tonight. I've lived in South Stormont pretty much all my life. I grew up here. Jim Brunel was a teacher at Long Sioux Public for myself. I've moved on to go to CCVS and further on to George Brown College where I got my education. I've decided to run for mayor because I truly feel that we need some changes in South Stormont. I feel we need some new blood, new things to happen here. We have too much of the old and it's time to move on. Yeah, boy, where to start? I was a business manager for over 10 years. I've worked for 5 years as a business manager for a top 10 company in all of Northern America. I haven't been on council before, and I know I've got a lot of questions on why did you decide to run? Why not run for councillor first? Well, I want to make an impact. I want to come in, I want to have a positive opinion and make positive things happen for this community. I think that The biggest concern I have is that each and every one in this audience does not have enough opinion on what happens in this township, what happens on council decisions, and so on. I think I can implement a plan where each and every one of us can voice our opinion. I'll be the voice of all those opinions. I will present that to the council table, and you will be my foremost decision on every decision made at the table. Before consulting with the rest of council and before everyone, you are my concern. I'm a taxpayer in this community as well. I've been here all my life. I see need for improvement, clearly. I hope that you support me, because I can assure you that no one is going to be more dedicated than I am. I spent the last 3 years working for South Stormont Township. I'll be resigning from that position if I succeed with this candidacy. So I can assure you, I'm dedicated. I'm here for you, all of us. Thanks very much for your time, South Stormont.
Thank you, Christopher. Our next candidate for mayor is Tammy Hart.
I apologize, I can't make that big step. And if my husband's in the audience, I have a flat tire, needs fixed. Good evening, everyone, and certainly thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for this lovely evening tonight. It's great to have the communication. My name is Tammy Hart, and I am asking for your support as Mayor of South Stormont. I've been a member of the Council of South Stormont for 12 years, 4 as councillor and 8 as deputy mayor. I'm proud to say that I am a member of the Lost Villages Historical Society, and for the last 4 years, I am the township's representative. Suffice to say that I really love our local history. I also represented the Township of South Stormont at the county level for 8 years and sat on the Cornwall and Area Housing Corporation for 4 years, and the Cornwall and Area Tourism now changed to the Stormont Dundas Glengarry Tourism. I'm also the Vice Chair of the Raisin Region Conservation Authority, and I'm proud to say that I successfully completed the 30-kilometer course run of the Raisin River Canoe Race from St. Andrews to Williamstown. It was a great experience, and I certainly love a challenge. Some of our successes, which I really do feel the last 4 years have been a great success. I think we've come together nicely and cohesively. So I just wanted to share with you some of the successful things we've accomplished, because we have other questions that we'll be dealing with as well down the road. But we in 2018 had no municipal tax rate increase. We certainly are the largest growing municipality in SDNG. We have a new $1.7 million fire and rescue station in Station 4 at St. Andrews. And we demolished the old station at St. Andrews. New sidewalks. We've created some new sidewalks, and we fixed some old sidewalks. And the township is coming up with a sidewalk master plan in 2019. There's been several complaints regarding the lack of winter maintenance on our sidewalks, and apparently the bus routes have changed, so our children are walking longer distances. So we certainly have to do a review, and we are going to do a total review of all our sidewalks in our township. And also the province is requesting that as well. Road reconstruction and asphalt. We've done $3.7 million on roads such as Anderson East, Anderson West, Island Road, Delaney Road south of the 18, Sunset Drive east on Mullinet Island. The town of Newington finally saw some major improvements such as County Road 14 and new sidewalks, Fairground Drive and Cedar Street. We have a community improvement plan in place. We've had that for almost 5 years, and we have a new one at the county level, and that's to help our local businesses. We have a new park in Ingleside, and we also have improved some county roads, 18, 11, 14, because remember, 50% of your taxes goes to the counties, roughly. You have your 2 roundabouts, whether you like them or not. So my accomplishment would be at the counties where I took away that railway spur, so I'm happy to say that happened for our bus drivers. And in conclusion, there's still plenty to do, so please vote for me as your mayor, Tammy Hart. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tammy. And now our final candidate for mayor, Brian McGillis.
Nice crowd. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow candidates, Mr. Moderator, Gord,
and thanks to the Chamber for putting this evening on tonight. My name is Brian McGillis, and I'm seeking your support for the position of Mayor in South Stormont. I previously served on council as your mayor from 2006 to 2014. I was also appointed by all county council to the position of warden in 2010. I believe that strong leadership is the key issue in this election. If elected as your mayor, I will be committed to championing accountable fiscal government. I will work effectively with council, administration, and all projects. I want to focus on growth, attracting business, infrastructure, upgrading recreational parks, and keeping our taxes in line. We were minus 5.3 in my last 4 years. My past record shows my capabilities. We built a new municipal OPP building, community center in Long Sault, a new medical center at Ingleside. There are now 5 more doctors there, and there's 2 more to come. There are many businesses that made their home in South Stormont during my term of council. Napa, Quality Manufacturing, Quality Tanks, Presentex, Tim Hortons, OPP, Forensic Building, and it goes on. I want to continue to attract business to create much more needed jobs in our community. As head of council, I will commit to promote the principles of transparency and accountability. I will really reestablish an open line of communication between council and the media to keep the people of South Stormont aware of what's going on in their community. I will encourage council to allow each department head to make a report at every council meeting where the public and the media will be invited so that everyone will know what's being passed at all regular meetings. This practice was removed since my last term of council. The residents of South Stormont deserve a local government that's accessible and engages our residents in two-way dialogue. I will approach the province and meet the cabinet ministers as I've had successfully done in the past in order to seek funding that is much needed for future municipal projects, especially for infrastructure. This will help offset the costs incurred by property taxpayers. A priority is to upgrade the 25-year-old Ingleside wastewater treatment plant. This is needed so that we can have more capacity for future commercial and residential growth. The new upgrades cost are at $27 million. The plant still meets the requirements under the MOE, but the maximum flow presently is only 60 cubic meters, which is equivalent to only 38 more lots. I will work together with the county's MTO to ensure the highway conditions improve our safety, they're safe in this community. Our seniors are extremely important to our community, and I only have 15 seconds left. What I want to see for our seniors is get the RO building used for doctors and senior use. So thank you very much. I have a lot more to say, but if you want to talk to me after the meeting, I'm here. Thank you, Gord, and thank you everybody for coming.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the candidates for councillor, for deputy mayor, and for mayor, and I think all of them performed very well. How about a collective round of applause right now? We now move into the question and answer segment of this evening, and for purposes of speeding things up, I'd like all of the mayor and deputy mayor candidates to take a seat on stage, and that way we avoid all of the traffic back and forth and off the stages. So if you could come on up here and take a seat, you'll be a little bit closer to the action, and we'll move things along a little quicker. And by the way, we have moved very quickly. We're actually ahead of schedule. So if it's okay with you, Carol, we can expand the time limit to 4 minutes. Okay. That'll take a little bit of pressure off you. Okay, candidates to the stage, please. There are chairs up here. Okay, the questions come from the Chamber of Commerce, and they've been provided to the candidates in advance, and each will now have 4 minutes to respond to the question. Now, our first two questions actually, will go to all 5 candidates, deputy mayor and the mayoral candidates, and the final question will be directed to the mayor candidates only. So our first question to the mayor and deputy mayor candidates, the question is, if elected, what do you hope to achieve during your term? And we'll start off with David Smith.
Thank you. I'm just going to get going so I don't get the hook this time. My goal is to make South Stormont a safe and affordable place to live and where people can grow to enjoy their golden years. A place where we can become self-sufficient in small business and retail enterprise. Let's start with young families. We need young families as they are the seed to making strong, vibrant communities. To attract and, more importantly, to keep those young people interested, we need to maintain and keep fresh our recreational infrastructure and our recreational programs. Children need to be kept busy and deserve to have options. It would be awful if our children and grandchildren have to travel out of South Stormont to play hockey or other activities because we don't have the numbers. I prefer to cheer them on at home. It's young families that are keeping our housing market strong and steady. Without them, the property value of our homes will be falling fast. Young families will keep our minor sports programs strong and create more opportunities for dance, music, arts programs, and keep our parks and playgrounds a great place for our kids to learn social skills as well as physical conditioning. For a few years now, I have heard many seniors talk of downsizing their homes. It's become a struggle for some to maintain their yards and pay utilities for a home that is larger than their needs. Most of the seniors have raised their families right here in South Stormont. Their friends live right here in South Stormont. Their church and social clubs are here in South Stormont. And most have many other reasons why they want to stay here in South Stormont. They would like more senior living options right here where they worked hard to keep the community, where they helped the community grow and what they have today. A smaller, more manageable living space with neighbors of the same age and interests is what some are asking for, and they would be able to stay close to their children and grandchildren. We have some developers who recognize these concerns and are slowly jumping on board to accommodate their needs. We need to work with these developers to get projects off the ground. We have qualified personnel to help them. Another concern about senior housing is affordable housing. We already have a great community in Ingleside, but it's not enough. There's a long waiting list to get in. This is where I can better help as deputy mayor, and sitting on county council gets me closer to those who will listen. A very important project in the works right now is the new wastewater treatment plant in Ingleside. Growth in Ingleside is halted until we can service a greater population and invite some industrial partners in our community. With the hopeful prospect of having large manufacturer warehousing companies setting up shop in one of our most desirable locations right in our local Ingleside, there's almost no limits to the great new things for all of us. New employer, new employees, more employees. More employees, need for more homes. Need more homes, we will need more contractors. Small business, retail, recreational opportunities, and who knows, maybe even a school can come back to this community. We must have forward thinking. Newington, St. Andrews, and the rest of the population north of the 401 are finally getting the attention that they have been wanting for the last several terms of council. Considering the investment that the provincial government is finally spending in the village of Newington, it may be the right time to apply for home ownership grants to improve energy efficiencies like our furnace, windows, roofs, insulation, etc. There are still some roads like Saving Street in Newington that need some repair. The farmers and more rural homeowners must be getting frustrated with all the bouncing up and down the roads. St. Andrews West is another part of our township that has been overlooked. The park in Rosedale Terrace has been neglected by council for way too long. That vibrant little community warrants some township attention. I believe that we dropped the ball in the community hall when we built a new fire hall in St. Andrews. We added a small training hall that is being used by the community. Once we committed to washrooms and hallways, we were that close to getting it done. I have more to say. You can see me after. I'm getting that hook again. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, David. I should explain, really, we're not here to cut somebody off in mid-sentence. You know, as long as the candidate finishes their thought, you know, that's certainly fine by me as moderator tonight. The question, again, if elected, what do you hope to achieve during your term? Our second candidate for Deputy Mayor, Richard Waldorf.
Thank you, Gord. Just buggered that up on you, Gord. During my term, I hope to first off acquire funding and see the completion of the Ingleside wastewater treatment facility. Secondly, I would like to work with the province of Ontario to get a commitment to fund and set timelines for improvements on Highway 138. That highway needs to be fixed. Completion of the ongoing IT and upgrades along with the asset management plan for the township. We have $60 million approximately in assets. We need to ensure we manage them properly, and we need the tools to do so, and our staff needs those tools. Completion and review of the public works maintenance program, focusing on the levels of service that we provide to the constituents. We need to protect our hard surface roads. We need to find ways of keeping that hard surface in place before it gets deteriorated, which it is happening in many locations. And we also need a plan in place to add additional distance on an annual basis to increase the amount of hard surface road we have. Sidewalks, roadside walking and cycling options need to be considered in all populated areas. And I say all populated areas. Construction of a new fire hall. We have need for a new fire hall. We have 2 fire stations right now that are running at their limits. We need to protect our people. We need to protect the people who work for us as volunteers and a fireman. I'd like to open dialogue with the St. Andrews community on the future of the historical site that exists there. That site is in bad shape. It needs serious attention, and I think it needs the input of the community. I'd like to form a recreational study group of all local parks in the community, with emphasis on gathering information from the local users of those parks. Then follow it up with a report prepared to be used by the Recreational Department and Council. This kind of a report can be used to set needs and timelines and budgets for these facilities. I'd like to have the formation of a waterfront committee with a mandate yet to be established by council and staff. I would like the focus to be on vistas. Vistas are areas where people stop when they're traveling to rest, to have a look at the view, maybe fish, or have a picnic. That's people who spend money in our community. Institute a planning study directed at the management of development in the Long Sault area. It should be projected over a 30-year period, and the focus should be on the needed services, water, sewage, and especially traffic patterns. It's great to build houses, but you got to get in and out of those places. Work with the counties and conservation authorities and farm community to establish an acceptable percentage of treed acreage across South Stormont. We are losing our trees, but there's got to be an acceptable number. Initiate a junior council position. Having a student sit at the council meetings to bring youth perspective to the table, I believe would work out to be the best for all. And work with small business and the Chamber of Commerce and developers to make available more space for commercial and professional outlets in our communities. When I read these questions, thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Now we'll ask the same question to our candidates for mayor. If elected, what do you hope to achieve during your term? Christopher Bonville.
Sorry about that. I think my nerves are getting the best of me. Okay, some of the things that I really feel that need attention that I feel I could address if I became mayor would be seniors, again, transportation and activities. I've spoken to numerous amounts of people in our community. They all feel the same. Our seniors feel that they don't have enough activities, and they feel secluded to their homes and their residences where they are. I feel the great need for to put a plan in place where we can actually get them out of their homes and out of their senior homes and into the community more. More integration, more transportation. I feel we strongly need that. I've also got a lot of feedback about teenagers. Teenagers that aren't old enough to drive, that are but old enough to want to go places. There's not enough programs for that. And I've had a lot of parents, with concerns about, they're always asking to get driven to town and so on. How we can address that? I think the community would be the best one to answer that question. But I definitely feel that there's need there. Another major concern I feel is, again, our council meetings. Like I said, I feel the community should have more say in what's going on. One of those things is, as someone addressed earlier about the cameras. Why those cameras haven't been used, I don't know. I think they should be in action, they should be used. I also think that those cameras should be recording every meeting live, and that there should be a link on our Township of South Stormont website where every individual that's at home with children, putting their kids to bed at 7:30, all the members in our senior center that can't get out or it's too hard for them to get out, they should be able to just click on the website, onto the link, and watch that meeting live. And if they're not able to do it out at those hours, then it should be recorded, and they should have a link that they can simply click on that evening, that night, whenever it's convenient for them, so that they can watch that. Click the link, watch the meeting. Whether that's 2 hours after it happens, as it happens, or the next morning. There's a serious concern for that. And again, back to our community, not having enough say in what happens in this community. We're the taxpayers. Why don't we have say? We should. I'd like to develop a plan also for our roads, just have our roads maintained. Teenagers, yeah, that's another thing. And again, my biggest concern is the community not having enough. We definitely need to have more say. I could go on and on, but you know what? I'm not going to hit on 50 different points that aren't going to be addressed. I think we should set our focus on what needs to be addressed and actually work on it and get things done. That's my intentions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Same question. If elected, what do you hope to achieve during your term? Tammy Hart.
Thank you, Gord. First of all, I'd like to thank Jim Bancroft for the 4 years that we've worked with him. He's been wonderful and really a joy to work with, and I think we've accomplished quite a bit. As your mayor of South Stormont, my priority would be to keep the taxes as manageably low as possible. What does that mean? It means spending your tax dollars wisely while maintaining our current infrastructure. It means being fiscally responsible. We currently have $58 million worth of assets in the township, which means we have to maintain those assets while keeping up with rising costs to do so. In 2012, Ontario was the first province to require its municipality to complete an asset management plan, which only included the core assets. Now in 2016, that same province is wanting us to have a complete review of all the assets that you have in your township. And that is a living document that has to be reviewed every 5 years, which costs money and time and people. As your mayor, I will be cognizant of the fact that we have an aging population who rarely sees an increase in their pension checks, or people who simply do not have a pension. It's getting harder and harder for them and others on small incomes to make a living. Plus, we have less money coming from the upper tiers of the federal and provincial government. I'd like to try and initiate more geared to income senior housing as what's happening in St. George's in Long Sault. One major priority for me would be to improve the communication between us and the school board. This past year, it's been very upsetting for the Township of South Stormont. Losing the high school at Rothwell-Austinbrook is upsetting and has put a financial strain on our local businesses, no doubt. All I can say is that there is a moratorium placed on school closure for 4 years, and I'm sure the school boards are not finished yet. Next time we will be ready, there's going to be a new public school trustee, and whoever that is, him or her, and we will need to be prepared. That's all there is to it. The past 4 years have been very productive and cohesive. Having said that, I do feel there's room for improvement. I have no problem with less in-camera meetings. I never was a fan of the topics that some of the topics that get discussed in camera. So I'm okay with I think we should have more transparency and accountability. Perhaps it's time to have a webcam. If that's what the people want, then maybe we can look at that. I don't have a problem with that. I want to continue to build on the community. Communication between the townships and the businesses is vital. South Stormont can be very proud of our hardworking staff. They will go out of their way to help assist developers who approach our township for help. I have said publicly that I do not support development fees, given our economical times and the fact that I want everyone to know that South Stormont is open for business. I want to continue to maintain our aging infrastructure, roads, water, sewer plants, landfills, fire stations, and so on. One major objective for me for the next term of council will be to try and secure infrastructure money from the feds and the province for the Ingleside treatment plant. As it stands, it's at full capacity. And it will take about $27 million to actually fix it. It's important that we keep our reserves healthy in case of an emergency. For example, we have a lot of new buildings and old buildings, as well as if we get a snowy day through the winter, then it's nice to have that little buffer to be able to just pay for the costs. So we need to do a better job at that as well. And our sidewalks, as I've mentioned before, for our seniors and children's safety especially. Lastly, we cannot forget our agricultural partners in South Stormont. A common complaint is the farmers feel like everyone is going south of the 401. But I honestly feel that within the last 4 years, we have really improved on our county road infrastructures because I am at the county and I see what's getting done, and the counties do an excellent job. We have Chris St. Thomas that's been doing a really good job of our municipal drains as well. So I think we always get a good in-depth report from him, and I rarely get a complaint. So I'd like to thank you all for this.
Thank you, Tammy. And our final response, if elected, what do you hope to achieve during your term? Brian McGillis.
What do I want to achieve? Well, the first thing on my agenda will be having a long orientation and brainstorming with our new council and administration. And that's to establish their vision for the next 4 years, what we're going to do here. We need to collectively work together to start. And we'll be discussing different things like economic development. We'll be discussing our 10-year needs road study, and they're all regarding infrastructure that are currently in progress now. And we're also going to talk about future projects. Upgrading roads, streets, sidewalks. That's another important issue that we have to discuss. Not to just take little sections out of the road or put circles around it for 3 years in the big potholes. We have to do the job right. We have to use tax dollars to do the job right. And that's one thing that I'm thinking that people are upset about, you know, the way the taxes are going up. I did keep the taxes down, minus 5.3, as I said. We don't want any more school closures in South Stormont. Thank you, Jennifer, for working so hard. Where are you? There she is. She advocated hard to keep RO open, and I really appreciate all the hard work she's done. But, you know, RO has half a school now. We can utilize that. We can utilize that for our seniors. We can also, my son's an ER doctor and toxicologist, and he said, Dad, why don't they use the part of that school? We need a clinic, a walk-in clinic. Why can't we start looking at issues of not having enough doctors and looking forward to maybe using that space for that reason? And our seniors too, they're looking for more space. I've been hearing that often. Also pressure MTO to start improvements on the Highway 138. I drive on that highway every day. It is dangerous. A lot more truck traffic is on that highway now. They need to make those improvements soon. I almost see an accident every day when I'm on that highway, especially around Headline, around Bonneville and Monkland. But just where the turn-offs are, you turn off. You don't pass, and that's the problem. They could at least put signs there and say no passing when other people are trying to turn, because that's going to create a lot of problems. When I was the mayor, I went to Queen's Park and we discussed that issue at length. They have a review, and you can look at it on Google to find out what's on the review and all the things along that 138 corridor that they're planning to do, and it's going to happen soon. And if we have to pressure them to continue that idea. Wastewater treatment plant, we discussed that at length. Keeping taxes at a reasonable rate, we discussed that. Having better communication with the public at regular council meetings, that seemed to be an issue here tonight. Well, when I was there, we had people come to our meetings. We had every meeting, we had the media there. That's not going on anymore. So we want to bring back the media. If they want to do by the cameras or whatever they want to do to have more exposure of what's going on, I'm all for that. But we have to bring back our media. We have to make sure that our departmental heads are there to make a report so everybody knows what's going on. Building a good working relationship with our partners, including the administration, counties, at both levels of government. I worked on all of them, and I know that I know how to move forward doing that type of thing. I know what goes on, and upgrading our recreational parks and equipment, of course, for the safety of our kids. Those parks, we should have somebody going and investigating all those parks and finding out what needs to be changed or fixed, because the kids are scraping themselves, cutting themselves, there's burrs on the equipment. And working with our businesses and attracting new business is one of the jobs that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, candidates. We now move on to our second question of the evening. This, again, is directed to both the deputy mayor and mayor candidates, and it does come again from the Chamber of Commerce. The question is, if elected, what would you do to support small business in South Stormont and attract more business to the township? We'll mix up the order a little bit, starting with the deputy mayor and Richard Waldorf.
Not much of a mix, Gord. Ladies and gentlemen, the question was, what would you do to support small business and attract more business to the township? The definition of small business is independently owned and operated company with a limited size and revenue depending on industry. That's what small business is about. It's about small operations, single individuals running a business. In most cases, maybe a partnership, but that's what small business is. We have many small businesses operating already in South Stormont. Some, and many, probably most, are home-based businesses because there are just no facilities for those people to move their businesses into. We have reached capacity in the community. I think the last space that was available was along Cornwall Center Road, and I believe it's now become a dental cleaning station or hygienist facility. So I believe that was the last space that was available, and it's now full. Over the past 4 years, the township has operated a community improvement program to assist businesses with the costs of improvements. Most of it was directed towards their curb appeal. Some was directed towards structural things. This has been very, very successful. Businesses have reached out and got what they can and have invested heavily, in some cases, just to make their business better and make it more functional. This program is so successful in South Stormont that the United Counties have decided that they're going to operate a similar program, but extending it more, some of it towards the agricultural area. I would like to continue on this path, which somewhat exists, which is the encouragement of investors to build buildings. We have tried desperately over the last 4 years to find someone to build a facility here in the village of Long Sault that would provide a large number of commercial floor space, but it's slow going. We run into problems here and there, but I believe that in the future we need to keep chasing these people. Sometimes investors are reluctant to go outside of the established areas. Most want to stay in the serviced areas. It's certainly less cost to build if you can hook to a sewer and water line. I would like to engage our staff in discussions of what other initiatives may be available to investors to encourage them to become partners with the municipality and with the small businesses. I believe the Chamber, Township staff, and Council need to and can work together to establish what commercial space is required and how additional space can become available. This can be achieved by finding ways to include all business in the community, whether they be home-based or standalone. There is strength, ideas, and resources in numbers, of which we all can benefit. Small business is the backbone of our country. These owners face enormous challenges each day, but the resilience to overcome and adventure forward, they deserve our support. Shop local, please.
Thank you, Richard. Same question for our other deputy mayor candidate, David Smith.
Thanks again, Gord. First of all, I'm happy to report that there isn't any empty storefront for sale or rent in our township. All of our commercial buildings are filled with tenants or owners. When we look to attract new business in the township, we need to, first of all, protect those small businesses and retail stores that we have now from saturation. Do we need another hardware store? Or how many more restaurants before we start killing the ones that we have now? We can easily go from $2 or $3 stores to none because market dictates that one was enough. We can focus on more home-based business and help people get started with licensing and other paperwork. There are some houses that can be rezoned for small businesses, like a TELUS or Bell Help and Sales Center, which I see we could have probably used this last week. I believe that our retail is on course, and before we get too greedy, we must support and protect those that are here now. A shop local, buy local approach is something that we could be better at. I see too many out-of-town contractors doing work in our backyard. It's frustrating to see truckloads of supplies from Quebec driving right past our own supply companies. It's frustrating to see out-of-town companies getting paid to do renovations with CIP grant money coming from our township. It's frustrating to see out-of-town companies getting service contracts like snow removal when we have locals sitting at home and their employers sitting at home as well, or employees. We have the skill, we have the equipment, we have the technology right here in South Stormont. If local tender is a little heavy by a few dollars, local companies should be considered anyway. We will get that money back in local retail shopping, dining, and taxes. When we talk about reaching out to new business, we can use more professional services like medical professionals, eye care, joint and back care, or respiratory are some examples of businesses that could easily work out of empty classrooms in an empty school. These services don't have to be 5 days a week, but it would certainly be more convenient to have some offices locally once a week until clients create a need for another day. Local small business and retail are hiring our children and our grandchildren, giving them valuable experience in the job market. It's imperative that we support these businesses. We need them as much as they need us. Shop local, buy local, hire local. Now, Gord, it sounds like I have a few more seconds. Can I finish my other speech? Thank you.
Thank you, David. And now we move on to the candidates for mayor. Same question. If elected, what would you do to support small business in South Stormont and attract more businesses to the township? This time around, we start with Tammy Hart.
Thank you, Gord, again. Keeping our taxes low is a drawing card for sure. We are the second lowest in SD&G. I would encourage development in our township. Therefore, I'm not a proponent of development fees. I want South Stormont to be a township that is open for business, housing development and business, help to keep our taxes low. It's imperative that we patronize our local businesses to the best of our ability. Every little bit helps. I want our businesses to feel proud to call South Stormont their home. Businesses are having a hard time given our state of economy and the fact that they are burdened with so many rules and regulations. In 2017, 2018, we saw the increase in minimum wage and the closing of Rothwell Osbrook High School. Needless to say, it's hard on our businesses and tough on the community. Our CIP, which is our Community Improvement Plan, is working well. The Township of South Stormont sets aside 1% of your taxes, $60,000 of the municipal taxes, to help the businesses take advantage of funding set aside for anyone who wants to improve their facade or do some construction and improvement. The individual businesses do not have to pay the money back, but they are required to have the work completed in 5 years. Now, this has been a real asset for our community because since 2017, we put out about $180,000, but the return on the value of the dollar is $2.3 million in improvements to the businesses in our community. So, of course, that helps our tax base a lot. The counties have done the similar thing because the program really works good. Certainly it would be within our best interest that staff continue to work with the local businesses to help them move forward. And we have wonderful staff who work hard and try to do their best for everybody. It's important to communicate to our businesses and homeowners and for the new people moving in. So we've got an improved website. For any information that you want, just go to our website. We've got an electronic newsletter that condenses all the information. Just get on the electronic email list. We send out a beautiful, colorful brochure called the Community Guide twice a year, spring and fall. It's got everything in that brochure. We're also in the standard freeholder under the Experience South Stormont every Wednesday. And of course, we're in the Seaway News. It gives you all the information you need to know about your township. Having good communication helps to keep our businesses informed and for the new residents, as I witnessed on my door-to-door campaigning. We keep our businesses healthy by promoting tourism. I would like to renew the commitment to communicating with the Parks Commission. One example I'd like to see that parkway opened up through the winter. I've had a lot of complaints about that. It's a beautiful area, and you can do your exercising, and you'd bring probably tourism to the area as well. Recently, we had a full house regarding the low water in the St. Lawrence Seaway. Plan 2014 has been implemented to resolve it was supposed to resolve some of the environmental issues, but it seems it's done the reverse. The International Joint Commission is leaving little room for improvements. Why is our area between Iroquois Dam and the Saunders Dam the sacrificial lamb? What can we do to make this situation better? After all, it is all about our tourism and dollars. I want to continue to talk and work with the neighboring municipality, as I see we have Mayor Delegard here at the back of the room, to help this situation better. The more the merrier, and the stronger the voice. We need to improve our internet services badly, where there's gaps. I've traveled around too, and I can't get service on my phone, and downloading at night for me out in the countryside, I can't get things downloaded, and that's not fair to small little rural Eastern Ontario municipalities, and I know for a fact the counties have worked really hard on that, and we're pressuring the provincial and federal government as well. So these are some of the things that I think is important for our community and our businesses, and it's also part of you working also to be a part of your community, do what you can to volunteer, but also, like I say, visit your businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Same question now for Brian McGillis.
We've heard tonight that small business is and always will be the backbone of the community, where the majority of people in the counties work in small business. When I was a warden in 2010, just to talk about small business, what do they need? They need broadband. They needed a strong broadband so they can conduct their business at home. I served on Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus when we introduced the broadband high speed to the area. Our mission was to provide higher speeds with broadband to at least 95 homes and businesses in Eastern Ontario called the Eastern Ontario Regional Network. That was quite a vision at the time. Phase 1 was a big undertaking, and now many businesses are working out of their homes and offices with high speed. Internet is everything from entertainment and business to education and health services. $172 million, one of the biggest infrastructure jobs that we did in the area for the project. But this was completed in 2015. Supporter of the federal and provincial, municipal, and private funding. Now this is phase 2. We hopefully will start next year, which people in rural areas will receive a lot faster wireless satellite technology connection, where people in rural areas can also work from their homes with better internet services and depending what is the best fit for them. People in remote areas will have access to run their businesses more effectively, more efficiently. I again will work to see Phase 2 come to fruition. One way to attract new business is to elect a visionary leader. I have a track record of working well with our businesses in the industrial sector. And we were successful in the past bringing business to South Stormont. Now, I don't work with economic development officers. Again, I was just talking to a real estate agent, Jamie Cameron. He said this: now, most of our commercial and business or industrial buildings are full, and our existing building inventory is shrinking in South Stormont. We have to do more to promote land in our industrial parks, and we have land in our industrial parks, but yet we still have 700 acres back north of Long Sault between Avonmore Road and also between Moulinette. I know the trees were cut, but it could cut there for the reason that they rezoned it industrial. So I think there's only 2 places in East Ontario that has that much land they can use. We need now to fix that plant in Ingleside. We have one in Long Sault to make sure that the capacity is there for our new industry. We as council will work with our Chamber of Commerce to meet and support our business in finding innovative ways to make them more known and promote, as we heard earlier, buying local. Keeping taxes competitive is also an important tool to attract and sustain local business. When I was there, we weren't the second lowest, we were the lowest. There is a lot of potential in South Stormont for business, and we will apply every initiative and incentive that we can to attract small businesses to South Stormont. It starts after October 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. The question, what would you do to support small business in South Stormont and attract more businesses to the township? Our final response from Christopher Bondville.
Hello again. Small businesses. We're definitely limited to our options. Putting up buildings and making space for these guys, it's not easy. We don't have the funding to do that. We don't have millions of dollars to do that. We don't have our tax dollars to do that with. I think some of the things we can do is send them in the right direction for guidance. We can potentially, now I don't know, I don't have access to our financial situation, but I think we could supply some grants to them. Small businesses need help. Every small business I spoke to, their number one complaint is financial. They need money for startup costs, they need money for printers and everything and so on. I think that if we can't provide any sort of incentives or financial assistance for them, that we could definitely provide some guidance for them. And one of those things might be the Economic Development Office, as Brian just mentioned. I've done some homework with them. They'll give you 15% of renovations, and they give some companies $20,000 to assist with their businesses. If you're a $10 million business, which I know we don't have that here, but they will offer up to $1.5 million to assist with your business and your building. These are options for them. If we can't provide, someone should. They need assistance. I also think we should potentially set up some sort of hub as where all these businesses can refer to one location to get insights from other business owners, contractors, suppliers, where they can all resource to a certain place where they can find resources to better their business. We have to be realistic of what we actually can do here. There's next to no cost to do this, to give guidance for our businesses. With this hub, it can be, we can provide licensed contractors with, proven names, insurance, so that they're not taking risk on just hiring the cheapest guy they can find, because you don't know what the outcome's going to be. The hub is definitely an option, just for more information. That hub could have 10 different arms, and it can provide information in 10 different ways, everything from banks to contractors to different business owners sharing their opinions and places to potentially buy their products and just make things more profitable for them. And again, well, I hear it over and over, our taxes. The taxes are high. I know that we're continuously sold on keeping taxes low. Well, you know what? I truly don't feel that our taxes are that low. If you compare to other municipalities and other businesses, you may feel the same. there's a tool on the MPAC website where you can enter all your information, your assessed value of your home, check off each box on there that gives you the option of whether you have a volunteer firefighter, full service or not, municipal water. Mine is $900 more than the assessed value. I feel there's room for improvement. We spend a lot of money in this community, and there's definitely room for improvement. I can't make any promises. I don't have access to that. But I'll tell you, if I did, I would definitely be making more effort that we'd be the #1 with the lowest tax in this community, because that's extremely important for businesses and each and every individual. And the farmers, they need to look into that a little deeper as well, because I think they'll be surprised when they do some homework. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, candidates. And now we move on to the final question for the evening. And this one will go to candidates for mayor only. A little context for the audience. 5 days before the election, marijuana will become legal in Canada. And although a lot of details have yet to be announced, there definitely will be implications for municipalities. Now the question is, if elected, would you allow cannabis retail outlets or grow businesses in the township? And if the choice lies with the municipality, will you allow personal home growing of marijuana? And let's start with Brian McGillis.
Why me first? I just couldn't wait to get up here for this one. Wow. This is my thoughts. Municipal leaders conceded that there are still a lot of questions than answers. Such uncertainty remains about what each level of government will be responsible for, as what Gord alluded to. I believe that all municipalities, not just here, but all municipalities and SDNG should discuss this issue at the county level so that we're all on the same page, not just borders of each municipality doing their own little thing. It makes it hard. Makes it hard. Stormont, Dundas, Glengarry should work collaboratively, and so that we all are consistent in our municipal regulations and laws, which will make it more effective for the Ontario Provincial Police to enforce. We are encouraged by the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to assemble a working group on cannabis legislation. That includes members of the relevant municipal divisions. I said our police, our fire services, our building code, our township planning, our licenses, different standards, and also public health, which is very important. The Cannabis Act is there for a reason. It's a regulation. It creates a strict legal framework for controlling the production of cannabis across Canada. One, what does it do? What's it want to achieve? This is one of the things I think is very important. Keeps the cannabis out of the hands of the youth. Keeps profits out of the criminal element, and protects health and safety by allowing adults access to safe cannabis. The federal government made it legal in the province, and the province will have a model in place too for the municipalities to make a decision, are they in or are they out? This is cannabis. There is still a small window for discussion and an opportunity for municipalities to be involved, engaged, and consulted. Everyone is waiting to see how this is all going to play out. We can't make a decision tonight because we have to meet with council. I talked to Tim Simpson, the CAO of the counties, and he 100% agrees that this should be a county issue. We all have to go there and discuss that with all our partners. Let's work together, find out what we can do, if anybody, and also the people. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what your thoughts are. I mean, this is part of what's not happening, right? So let's listen to you people. Let's listen to everybody. Make a decision. We don't have a lot of time. It's going to be passed on October 17th where marijuana will be legal. Right now, they have personal and they have for medicinal purposes. The personal, each person can have 4 plants, okay? And then for medicinal purposes, whatever the doctor gives them or what they can grow. We're not going to stop that. We can't stop that. So what are we looking at stopping? We're looking at stopping with controlling and keeping regulations. Would you, people that see kids drinking alcohol, would you want to see that deregulated? No, that's regulated for a reason. Cigarettes is regulated for a reason. If this is going to be legal, let's regulate it. Let's look towards making sure that the people in the community are safe. Because, you know, a lot of people, I just attended a funeral where somebody was taking something off the street and he passed away. So, you know, a lot of that is happening. We all know that. So let's understand what's going on. Let's work together with council and with the counties. And let's make a decision that's going to be safe for the community at whole. I have 15 seconds. Let you think about it. We can only make an informed decision. That's the only way we can make an informed decision, is working together. Nobody can ask us to make a decision tonight. I wouldn't do that, because we have to work collectively and collaboratively. Okay? Thanks, Gord.
Thank you, Brian. And now the same question for Christopher Bonville.
Let's start with a show of hands who smokes here. No. Just kidding. First of all, I think Brian hit the nail right on the head there. We can't make a decision at this point whether we're going to allow that. It's federally controlled. I think we should leave that in their hands to make that decision. I'm sure there's a lot would object. I'm sure there's a lot that would be for it. So yeah, to make an uninformed decision right now, I don't think it would be a qualified or a very accurate one. I do feel we need to meet with the federal government, with the members of our community, with the township, surrounding areas, and someone has a lot more information than we do on this subject. So to say yes or no, I'm not going to make that decision because I don't have the information to make it. I guess I'll leave it at that. Thanks very much.
And now Tammy Hart.
Thank you very much. This is a little bit disturbing for me, this whole business of cannabis. I just feel for our youth is where I'm going to go with that one. But as it is going to be enforced October 17th. I'll give you a few facts. Every household will be allowed 4 plants. That's household, not individuals, or 30 grams. The federal government will regulate the production, cultivation, and processing of cannabis. So they'll be regulating it. The national minimum age will be 18, but in Ontario, it's going to be 19. Ontario will not be able to use recreational cannabis in any public places, workplaces, and motor vehicles or boats. Municipalities. Each municipality will receive no less than $10,000 to help implement the cost of legalization. If the government makes more money off the marijuana, then my understanding is they'll dole it out more afterwards, depending on how things go. Also, the municipalities will have a one-time chance for each municipality to opt out. The problem I see is how cannabis will be regulated at the municipal level. Enforcement of the regulations, including where and when cannabis can be consumed or inhaled, will need to be covered by us, the municipality. We are definitely going to need more resources, support, and money. $10,000, I'm afraid, is not going to cut it. That means we're going to pay our bylaw officers, maybe hire another bylaw officer. I don't even know where to begin, where we're even going to start to control this, or at least check with checks and bounds. So far, in my opinion, all the questions have not been answered. There's probably going to be numerous more coming ahead. Would I personally allow cannabis retail outlets in my municipality is how I sort of read this question. Well, what choice will we have when every other municipality will allow it around us? Having said that, I am not a real proponent of any of this stuff. It really upsets me the way this has gone. I have a 23-year-old. We all have children. But the way I do see it is that we will have to communicate with the people. I'm only one vote. It's a council. It would be a municipal decision, each municipality making up their own minds. Those decisions, as you all are aware, get decided around the table. A mayor has one vote. You've got all the rest of your councils. That's why you have a democracy. That's why you check with them where you stand on this issue. If we need to have a public open forum regarding where your municipality stands, then so be it. That's the way it'll be. But I mean, those are the facts so far that we are aware of. I know the OPP, we've talked to them and they're as confused as everybody else out there. But the fact is, we will have to move forward on this. Decisions will have to be made. And that's where your municipality, your council, and what you have to say, and you phone your council member, let them know where you stand, and then the results will come from the table. So that's everybody on council. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. That concludes the South Stormont Chamber of Commerce Meet the Candidates evening. I would ask you to please show your appreciation to all of the candidates for being here tonight. And best of luck to each and every one of you on Election Day, October 22nd. We'd also like to thank Your TV for being here tonight, recording the evening. Please keep your eye on the broadcast schedule so you can watch it on TV. I'd also like to thank you, the audience. You've been a great audience tonight. I hope that this has been an informative evening for you and will help you make your decision on October 22nd. Our candidates have all indicated that they are here after the program. They'd like to meet you, so we hope that you'll take your opportunity to do that. There's lots of election information on the South Stormont website, southstormont.ca. The advance polls open on October 17th. The voters' letters should all be delivered in early October. And as a final reminder, have your say, get out and vote. Thank you everyone for being here tonight.